What's up, everybody? It's your man, KJ the Great, dropping another edition of All Sports Media TV. But first, I want to say, I hope and pray everything is great your way. Now, let's talk about it. All right, y'all. So, we got some interesting news with these reports that are coming out that the former undisputed super middleweight, junior middleweight champion of the world, the now current unified junior middleweight champion of the world, Jermell Charlo, who is 35 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 19 wins coming by way of knockout. These reports are that he is running the risk of being stripped again. Now, if you don't know or you don't remember, I did videos on this a while back. Jermell Charlo was scheduled to face his mandatory TSZYU. He was scheduled to face his mandatory TSZYU last March, not last March, but March of like 2022, around that time. But he ended up breaking his left hand in training camp. So he had to pull out the fight. Now, TSZYU was the interim champion, the mandatory. That fight was going to be explosive. It was going to be good. So he wanted to stay active. He ended up going on to fight Tony Harrison. Knocked Tony Harrison out in the 9th round in Australia. Blistering uppercuts. Just a well-oiled machine he was in that fight. Then he wanted to stay busy because Jermell Charlo was not ready or active or whatever the case may be, all ready to go for the fight. So he fought Carlos Ocampos, ended up knocking him out in 90 seconds of that fight. I think TSZYU is the real deal. Now, the IBF, International Boxing Federation, President Daryl Peoples, have let it be known that he gonna have to start honoring these mandatories pretty much, because the WBO made it clear that when Jermell Charlo signed to fight Saul Canelo Alvarez, that they were going to strip him of his WBO title after that fight. That way they could keep that undisputed versus undisputed, tagline status to build that fight up. The fight was not what it was. It was not what it was built up to be. I like Jermell Charlo, but he came and he did not commit to his jab. He didn't sit down on any punches. He didn't commit to anything. He didn't seem like he wanted to engage the way that we've known him to engage. So it was just a bad look, a bad fight, and it was a bad loss. He probably arguably only won 1 round in the fight, but he probably ended up losing every round. He ended up getting knocked down in the 7th round. But he got up. He prided himself on surviving, which, in my opinion, ain't the best thing to do. He ended up talking about, he's going to go back down to 154. He'll fight Crawford. He'll fight winner of TSZYU and Brian Mendoza. And he said all of that. But, here's the thing, is the IBF mandatory, BAKHRAM Makhachev, was the number 1 who was supposed to face Jermell Charlo. Now, if you don't know, the WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO, they have what you call like a rotating system with how they do their mandatories, because, each sanctioning body or each belt can have somebody who's a mandatory. So all the sanctioning bodies are in agreement of which sanctioning body is up, first, next, whatever the case may be. So BAKHRAM is 21 wins, no losses, no draws, with 15 wins by way of knockout. He already took step-aside money so that they could try to make the fight with TSZYU. And, of course, he's not wanting to do that again. Neither is the IBF. So he comes back down to 154. he's going to have to honor that mandatory now because the WBO already elevated Tim Tszyu to full champion status. That's why Jermell Charlo is now the unified super middleweight, super welterweight champion, junior middleweight champion, instead of the undisputed. So he has to figure out a way to honor that fight. Now, BAKHRAM is a Russian fighter. I don't know how the IBF is doing their ordeal with Russian fighters and all of that. But, he's a fighter. Let's just say, because they've made it apparent, like the WBC and all those other, they made it apparent that other fighters like Russian fighters like Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev won't be able to compete for those championships. So I don't know how this is going to work, but I do think that Jermell Charlo should probably consider honoring this mandatory, get back in the win column. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. This guy has 15 knockouts and 21 fights. Not the biggest name, but definitely a good fight for him. And I believe he can get back in the winning column. And we still have to wait and see what's going to go down with Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Because, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, they're trying to figure out which weight they're going to fight at. And it's looking like it may be at 154. But all in all, the winner of Tim Tszyu, Brian Mendoza, should be able to compete for undisputed versus the winner of Jermell Charlo and BAKHRAM if that fight takes place. If not, Jermell Charlo will be stripped yet again of another title, and he'll only hold the WBC and the WBA Ring Magazine titles. I guess along with the linealship, you can kind of say that too. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what y'all think Jermell Charlo should do. You think he should honor this mandatory, or he should sit aside, let them strip him, and wait for the winner of Brian Mendoza and Tim Tszyu? That's all I got for y'all. Again, follow me on Instagram at All Sports Media TV. Follow me on my other Instagram at KJ the Great 09. Thank you guys for tuning in. Peace.